How's everyone feeling? Hope everybody's having a wonderful start to your day. We're in our live platforms today, giving you guys value, service. What are your goals? What are your desires? What is it that you really, really want? What are you going after this year? What actions are you taking? How are you becoming the person that you want to be? And I really want you to think about that because nobody can change you. Nobody could change me. I'm not the person I was years ago, and nor do I want to be. I I came more aware that there was so much more. There's always been so much more. But what we're experiencing is our beliefs. And when we're ready to face those beliefs and go beyond, that's when we find ourselves. We're truly finding our higher selves, our higher awareness. We're only limited to weakness of attention and poverty of the imagination. Which two are inhibiting your awareness? Poverty of the imagination, weakness of attention. You know, do you really think anything is possible? Do you truly believe anything is possible? And if you really do, and a lot of people do, they say that, but for some reason they don't act like that. Do you really think anything is possible? If you really think anything and everything is possible, why don't you act like it? Well, so many people didn't know that there's a paradigm, there's a program inside of you that doesn't think everything is possible. That has fears, doubts, worries, and that's what your self-image is composed of, is those ideas. And what we want to do is get a better understanding of who we are and set goals, make decisions, go beyond what we know. If you don't go beyond what you know, you're going to stay exactly where you're at because you keep doing and what you know, and you're going to experience exactly that, and you don't learn anymore. You see, discontent is really your soul desiring to be more. Why? Because it knows it's so much more. Discontent is how you achieve greater things and go beyond. The average individual goes into discontent, and at some point, fairly early, they normally conform. This is the truth, and this is written in the ages for generations. The average individual goes into discontent because this is the normal state of being. Discontent is normal. Be happy, never satisfied, but this is normal. It happens to you automatically. It doesn't matter because your soul's natural state of being is growth, evolution, becoming more than what it was. It is not satisfied with staying in one place for too long. Your soul's DNA is perfect and it knows it is. And that's why it's always pushing you to go beyond what you are. That's right. So, goal setting, goal achieving, it's working with the law, it's working with your energy. Understanding how to break those paradigms, those beliefs, those ideas, those generational habits. They didn't come from you, they didn't even belong to you. You're a spiritual being. You moved into a body, you will move out. But while you're here, you have to experience your awareness. And your awareness came from the people that you came into, the generation you came into, the location around the world. And then you begin to act and think like them. And that's what's been getting you the results you have. The truth is, you could have so much more. You just don't know how to get there. And that's what we teach. We teach this every week, and we do it every Saturday. We got one of our programs, Mastery Lifestyle, Business Matrix. And during the week, we have a Creative Lifestyle as well. And we're giving you all these programs to help you achieve the goals that you want, whether you're in business, you've already been running your businesses, to leveling up your companies, going beyond your companies, to developing yourself within a company that you're already working in, whether in your sales, management, whatever it is. You can do anything. You can achieve anything. I've worked my way from the bottom of companies all the way to management. How did that happen? Desire and the will to do it, the will to be more than what I was. Is there a process? We teach it. Yes, there's a process. The programs that we have been developed to help people. And whatever endeavor they're at, whatever point in life they're at, we've used these programs all around the world, and we've helped people all around the world. I've worked with the Procter & Gallagher Institute for years, and we're teaching Thinking into Results. This program, Thinking into Results, has developed lives around the world for generations already. Bob dedicated his life to helping people and helping people become more successful, achieving their desires in life. These programs work. You have to work. You have to decide that you're going to change yourself. That's the first thing, is making a decision that you will no longer stay where you're at. From there, we can work with you from there. But you've got to make the decision. You've got to make a commitment that your way is not working. You know, I learned a while back that, you know, your ego is too big. You don't believe you need to learn. If your ego is too big, you don't believe you need to study. You don't need to study anymore. You don't need to learn this. Oh, I don't need to do that. When the ego is too big, it does not need to learn from anyone else. It no longer needs to grow. It no longer needs to discipline itself. It no longer needs to achieve more than what it is, because it already knows better. Really think about what I'm saying. When an individual's ego is so big, there's no humility in it. It does not need to learn from anyone or anything anymore. But the thing about that ego is he didn't know that that's his worst enemy. Because the truth is, that individual will live the rest of his life repeating the lessons day by day, thinking that's the way life's supposed to be. I watch so many people, and I watch this all day long. People actually think that they're supposed to conform. I watch conformity everywhere. And I watch people reassess themselves, but still keep replaying the lessons day by day, week after week, year after year. They were never supposed to stay in that same position for that long. They were not willing to grow. They were not willing to become more aware that they were so much more. I've watched people retire. Spent their whole life doing the same thing. And even if you have retired, there's still hope. Why? Because you can be anything. You can have anything. It's really up to you to decide who you become from this day forward. You got the opportunity right now. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what part of the planet you're on. You got a gift. Your responsibility is to unfold it. Figure out what your purpose is for the rest of this time being. While you're here, while you're alive, while you're aware. And then changing yourself. This is the only way. Goals are not to get there, to grow. And as you grow, you become more of what you are and less of what you're not. I'm going to play this video. We're going to go through a couple of the processes of consciousness and the way the mind works, conscious, subconscious mind, and really to give you a better idea of who you are and what you're worth. Nobody in the world can tell you what you're worth. Only you. But the way you act is telling you what you're worth. It tells you your level of awareness with yourself, what you think is possible and not possible. And it lines you right up with what you do. So important to be aware of this. When you look at the mind, you really need to get a really, really good understanding that the mind is a movement, your body is the manifestation of that movement, and all of your results are just subject to the way you think. I'm going to play this and we'll come back to the lesson.
You don't have to agree with them, but you've got to see where they're coming from. Well, let's look at this. Here we are here, the conscious, subconscious, and the body. Let's take a quick look at how it works. Most of you have seen this on videos or in a seminar. That's your thinking mind, your educated mind, your intellect. Now, I think there's probably about 150 or 60 names that we could tag onto this part of the personality. We call it the conscious mind. It's the thinking mind. And down here is the emotional mind. So there's no emotion here. The emotion's down here. That's the emotional mind. This part up here is the thinking mind. Now, see, because we can think, and we have the ability to choose. So you see, you can choose to pay real close attention to everything I'm saying. You can choose to pay real close attention to what's going on with anybody that we have here, or you can choose to let your mind wander. It's a choice you make. If you will choose to really pay attention, I think odds are pretty good you're going to learn something very valuable. You have the ability to accept or reject everything you hear. You can accept the new idea and reject the old belief. Most of our beliefs are absurd. If you reject the information, then you can originate information because you've got a power flowing into your consciousness and you can make anything out of it you want. Now, this part of your mind must accept whatever's given to it. It has absolutely no ability to reject. This is the part it should really get you jazzed. It cannot differentiate between that which is real and that which you've imagined. It does not know the difference. If you go back and think of some time in the past where you've all done this, you've really been worried about something, really worried, to the point where you were really getting upset, and you find out that it wasn't happening at all. It was all just in your imagination. You created whatever it was. It didn't even happen, but you still got upset. Your subconscious mind accepted it as real. Well, you can take and turn that around, and you can imagine that you're very wealthy. You can imagine you're the most effective person in your industry. You can imagine that something's come over you, and you are going to get results beyond anything anybody ever dreamed. And you know something? That's the way you'll go. See, we've got to understand that this part of our mind is like the earth. It really doesn't care what you plant, but it'll return what you plant. In equal and like. And you know something? That's the way you'll go. See, we've got to understand that this part of our mind is like the earth. It really doesn't care what you plant, but it'll return what you plant. In equal and like measure. Now,
Well, take a look at this again. We're going through the mind. How does the mind work? It's so important to understand your consciousness. If you're not willing to understand it, you're not willing to understand the thing that keeps getting you stuck. You can think, we all think. But when you looked at that subconscious mind, which is the lower half, you're thinking from what you know. And what you know was given to you by somebody else. You've taken on all those ideas, and those ideas think. And they tell you whether it's possible or not possible. So while you think, what's really thinking is all the previous memories of previous results, from previous memory, from previous beliefs that you inherited. When you were a baby, you came in wide open, no ability to reject. So that's why that subconscious mind, even at this point, later on down the line, you could think something and get really emotionally involved with it, and you believe it's true until you see the difference. You keep thinking that your results are true until you see the difference. And that's why goal setting is so important. I watch people act and behave very, very minimal compared to what they could do. But what they see is what they believe is possible. The thing is, they're truly not acting like they truly could accomplish a thing. They're acting like what they know. You've got to literally change your energy and do the things you don't know how to do with a positive mental attitude. And if you have a negative mindset, negative mental attitude, you will find every reason why it's not going to work. And that's the way the mind works. You can use it to create, you can use it to destroy. You can cause it to diminish and wither away. Everything goes back to your mindset and the way you use it.
how are the paradigms formed? Well, as little children, we arrive on the scene like this. Remember we said back here, the subconscious cannot reject. There's no ability to reject. It doesn't care what you plant. Well, now let's go back here. What were you like? What kind of an environment were you in when you were an infant? What was being dumped into your mind when you were just a little child? Now, I'll give you somewhere to go. I was born in 1934. The Great Depression started in 1929. Now, sometimes they tell you it went on to about 33. It didn't. It went on to about 1939 when the war broke out. The war ended the Depression. So the first 5 years of my life was right in the heart of a depression. The next 5 years was in a world war. Everything was rationed. There were no men around. I say no, there were some, but not many. They were all either in Europe or South Pacific fighting. So here's a whole bunch of kids, and they're all running around, no daddies. And most of the mamas were working in war plants making bullets that the daddies were firing. I'm not exaggerating, that's just the way it was. So there was not much direction. And this is the environment I grew up in. Everything's rationed. Nobody had any money. Nobody had a car. Nobody had a phone. This is the way my mind was at that time. Just whatever was going on was going right in there. Now, I don't know where you were. The situation was probably different. It might have been better. It might have been worse. But I do know this, that you had no ability to reject any of the information that was coming your way. And the people that were giving it to you, they had no idea what they were doing, or the odds of them having an idea is very, very slim. They didn't know. They didn't even know they didn't know. Now here we are grooming a person for life. We are preparing them to go out into the world, and they're ill-equipped. Is it any wonder that we have about 90% of the population that are wandering in circles or really don't know what's going on? Is it a wonder you got a great big company and there's phenomenal opportunity for anyone that wants to come in, and there's only a handful that win and the rest just struggle around? What are they doing? They're watching each other. And since we are raised to be copycats, we copy the ones we're watching. But the ones we're watching don't know where the hell they're going. They don't know what they're doing. And there's only a handful wonder that we have about 90% of the population that are wandering in circles or really don't know what's going on. Is it a wonder you got a great big company and there's phenomenal opportunity for anyone that wants to come in, and there's only a handful that win and the rest just struggle around? What are they doing? They're watching each other. And since we are raised to be copycats, we copy the ones we're watching. But the ones we're watching don't know where the hell they're going. They don't know what they're doing. I think the best advice and the simplest thing a person can do, find somebody that's really winning at what you're doing and then do exactly what they tell you. Now, fortunately, that's what happened to me when I was 26.
So here we go again. And Bob's even talking about corporations and businesses. And this is happening all the time. We build companies, and the very few people that win. We have companies today, and the truth is anybody could work themselves into any position, but they keep doing what they know. And there's just a few of them that are actually really winning. You think that's an accident? Not at all. Program. It's a program. We are walking, talking programs when we're not aware. We just keep doing what we learned. We keep doing what we know. And when it comes to getting out of our comfort zone, we don't want to do that. And what do? We've picked up the behaviors and habits of someone else, and we made those our own. And we just follow the leader, whoever was leading. You will not become aware until you're willing to become more aware. And you will not change until you decide you've had enough of you. That's right. Every problem that you've been having is coming from the way you think. And the truth is, you've got to change the way you think. There's not one person in the world that does not need this information. I watched. I understand the way paradigms are created. I understand how programs are happening. Child is born and being programmed by that family. There's not one person in the world that will not get to the point that they don't know what to do next. Everybody gets stuck. Very few people get unstuck. Very few people continue to reprogram. Very rare do I find somebody that's come out of college that has continued to educate themselves beyond college. Very rare. I've helped people with doctorates. I've helped doctors, scientists with doctorates. I've helped all different kinds of people. Not that they were any less. Everybody gets stuck because the mind evolves to the limit of what it thinks it is possible. And when it gets set to that point, the mind is automatic. It tries to shut everything out. It says that's enough. We've gone far enough. But on the other hand, your spiritual DNA is perfect and it will always push you. You know, we were meant for more. You know, I was meant for more, and you're going to hear this inner voice all the time. You see, I already know the psychology behind belief and behavior. And the truth is, that's the way it was supposed to be. What was not normal is to stay exactly where you're at. That's where anxiety steps in, depression steps in, disease, disintegration. All this steps in because your higher spiritual consciousness is wanting. Your program and beliefs are holding you back, and then you begin to suppress that energy, and it turns into anxiety, disease, depression, disintegration. When will you be ready to live the life you truly desire? When will you be ready to prove the fact that anything is possible? At what age were you programmed? Limitation, lack. At what age were you programmed to conform? At what age were you programmed to not bet on yourself anymore? At what age were you programmed that poverty would be all you would ever have? At what age were you programmed this is good enough? At what age were you programmed to stop wanting? Really think about what I'm saying. Little child is perfect. The child wants, gets up, falls down, gets up, falls down. It does not know that it can't do that thing, and it continues. But at some point along the line, that little child begins to get programmed and inundated, and it begins to think like them. At what age did you start to believe everything was not possible for you? If we are truly God's greatest gift, why don't we act like it? According to the people we were raised, we begin to act like them. There is no right or wrong. The people that did what they did, people that taught us did what they could with what they knew. Chances are they were not around this information. I'm pretty sure if they would have been around this information, at least they would have put it in front of you. Chances are they weren't around this information. They didn't understand. Their spiritual nature was perfect. Nor maybe chances are they didn't have the tools, they didn't have this information readily available to them. They weren't aware. Simply just weren't aware. There's a process taking people through this process. Through goal achieving, goal setting, understanding who you are, improving yourself, and we teach it. Take a look at what we're doing. Send me a message when you're ready to develop yourself. You're ready to go beyond. You want to hit some goals. You want to be successful. You want to go beyond where you've ever been. Send us a message. I Am Mastermind is through the mind, and we are helping people live the life they truly desire. Thank you guys, and everybody have a wonderful day.